My name is Oscar Mireles, and I want to welcome everyone to the first annual Wisconsin Conference on Latinx Art and Culture. Um, it's been an exciting year organizing this, and as of yesterday, we have over 125 people registered, and we also created a link so any of your friends who were not able to register can just go to the webpage loudwisconsin.org and get into the conference with one click. So if you want to text or email one of your friends, they can still join us even though they didn't have an opportunity to register yet. Secondly, this conference has been planned in my mind for a long time. And I think what the pandemic did is reminded me that now is the time. So this past year and a half has been pretty exciting. I've been able to reconnect with a lot of old friends of mine who have been involved in the arts for decades. And when I offered the opportunity to participate, each and every one said yes. I want to thank you for joining us. Your presence means a lot to me. Of my dream of bringing the community together via the arts has finally become a reality. I also want to thank my team that helped put this together. Without their love and support and patience, today's event would not be possible. I want to thank Dr. Edith Beltran. She has really guided our vision of having this conference be both in English and Spanish, and we want to thank her for all her support. Jan Sternbach, who's been helping me in my other job at Omega School for the past 2 years, and our involvement with another group called Adelante. She serves as an excellent sounding board. She listens. Sometimes she listens very closely so she can tell when I need a little redirection. I really appreciate her mentorship and her kind of guiding light. She's always so positive. And finally, our computer Riz, and he's been coming to some of the art party events I organized, Benny Bacala. I think because we had a change, we had planned to do this in person and switch over to virtual. Benny has navigated a lot of changes, a lot of, I think contradictory orders, but he's done it with a lot of maturity, a lot of patience. He's worked with all the artists individually, and I want to thank Benny for his time and patience. They all deserve a loud round of applause and a hug and gracias for their support. As I had mentioned earlier, we had originally planned to meet in person, and I want to acknowledge the friends and supporters who are providing extra assistance and encouragement. We had reached out to Art Literature Laboratory, to Rita Mae and Jorlyn, who had agreed to host us at their new facility on the east side of Madison. Last month, they hosted one of our art parties, and we were looking forward, and I'd recommend that if you have a chance when you're in Madison to look at their new facilities. They have some exciting openings. They have a lot of jazz and poetry. So they're exciting cultural center in Madison. Yesterday, I got an email from our caterer and said, we're getting ready for the conference. So I want to thank Lino Reese of El Pastor Restaurant. When I called him, he said, well, usually, Oscar, I know you call ahead. So when I didn't hear anything, I sort of figured it might have been canceled. But I really appreciate his patience and his support. Some friends offered some other support. I want to thank both Naomi Smith and Sergio Newt for offering their spare apartment for one of our visiting artists to stay. And a good poet friend, Dana Maya, also offered her beautiful home for a guest artist to stay. So we want to thank them for doing that. I want to thank a longtime friend who we've actually worked together when I worked at Latino Arts in Milwaukee, and when I was on the board of the Milwaukee Repertory Theater and on the board of Arts Midwest. And he was one of our fellows in the Arts Administration program. He was directing the Community Arts program at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, and he also worked at the Wisconsin Arts Board. And now, for the past 7 years, has been director of Dane Arts, and his work in terms of not only supporting arts and arts organization, he was one of the initial founders of Dane Arts Mural Arts, and he's been a longtime friend. I'm happy that his son just started medical school here in Wisconsin, and I thank his wife Becky for all her unwavering support. I have another friend, Roberto Rivera, who, as I shared the information about the conference, he agreed to have, he has had an extensive collection of Chicano poster art. And so we had an opportunity for my photographer, Martin Jenick, to go down there and take some photos. And so we are having a silent auction just for today. So if you go to the website, there will be an opportunity to bid on art. There'll also be opportunity to bid on a hotel stay at the Best Western. And my art party co-founder, Samantha Becker Crownover, has a night stay at her newly remodeled 100-year-old Brisbane house. So we want to thank them for support. I also want to thank the City Arts Administrator, Karen Wolf, for when I shared the idea for the conference. She was very helpful at making sure that I acknowledge some of the other events that we've had here in Madison and Dane County this past year. I want to thank Jessica Cavazos for organizing the Latino Art Fair that's been going on at the Overture Center for the past several years, and as an opportunity to bring in artists into our major performing arts center. And I want to also thank Monica Cliff from Cultivarte and Teatro Enye for organizing the first Latino festival. When people ask me, gee, there's a lot of events going on, I said, well, it's just a testament to the large Latino population here in Madison and the growing number of local artists. So I reminded people it's better that we have more than less. And I was happy to support all the other events. First of all, I want to pay homage to the fact that Madison and Dane County are in Ho-Chunk land. And I had an opportunity to work with members of the Ho-Chunk tribe, and I want to take a moment to honor their ancestors who saw the four lakes here in Dane County as an opportunity to create a space to live with nature, and they've been here for thousands of years, and I'd be remiss not to honor them and honor their contributions. I also want to honor, in the late 1970s, there was a group that organized Canto al Pueblo. One was in, I think it was in San Antonio, and Milwaukee had the second one. It was a call for the artists to come together in Milwaukee and share their poetry, share their films, share their music. And it was a weekend of events. And, you know, as I was planning this, I reminded how at the time I was a lot younger as a young person, how important it was to really meet artists up close and personal, to see and experience art. I think our brain gets inspired by music, by sound. It takes us places that sometimes not only are beautiful, but sometimes also uncomfortable. And I think, art moves us in many, many different ways. And I want to pay homage to Canto al Pueblo for inspiring me when I was a lot younger and didn't understand the full power of art in transcending our community and providing life and enrichment to Latino families. Um, I also want to thank, I've been doing a lot of cultural programming for decades, and sometimes people in your own family are often. I know my family knows I'm a writer. Family knows I've organized festivals and events, but a lot of times they have their own lives, and I want to thank my older brother Carlos Mireles, who's on the call. It's important that he's here because he introduced me to our keynote speaker in, I think it was 1976. And if for those younger people in the audience, 1976, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have a lot of the connectivity and easy access to connectivity that we had. And so as I was reflecting, I said, how did he find, our keynote speaker, Zarco Guerrero, who was living in Arizona, and we were up in a little campus called University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, and so Zarco had an exhibit of his mask. My brother also bring Teatro Campesino, the farm workers theater, and bought a lot of musicians and art. And he's also a visual artist, and I know he has an Instagram post. But I want to thank my older brother for introducing me to music, letting me tag along when I was a scrawny 15-year-old. And it's when you think about a mentor, he's not only a person that cares about you, but can see something in you that you don't see. And I want to thank my older brother for that.